Welcome back to Open Discussion Podcast. I always say open. It's OD Podcast. Even though
it's the same.
OD stands for open. I know, but you can't type in open discussion and then it comes up. So I need to be clear with my intentions. So anyway, how are you doing today, best friend?
You know what? I'm in a good mood today.
Oh, you got some cutty?
Whoa, no.
Why you in a good mood? My bad.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm just in a good mood. I got up, cleaned the house, cleaned my car out, took a shower.
That sounds good.
I watched a new Netflix series.
What you start?
Sex Education.
Oh, I heard that was good.
I think that's what it's called.
Is it sex in it?
Yeah, but it's not like they show. I mean, they did show a little boob.
Okay, I may not run a little titty.
Yeah.
So speaking of titty, I heard you had some crack grapes.
Oh, y'all, I finally had it. So, yeah.
Trader, go send me the picture.
I am not a trader. Just know that it was the easiest transaction ever. It was not what y'all saw on Instagram.
Yeah, because you might have been their last customer ever.
Really? Whoa.
I heard that they got evicted from it. Well, they said they got evicted from their apartment.
Did, but they got a new spot now.
Yeah. Well, when I found out where they were living, I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
But hey,
before we got there, apparently the line was like all the way in the street, all the way. It was like 80 people in the line. But when we got there, it was nobody. I just got out, bought it.
What on a scale of 1 to 10? How you rate them?
Okay. It literally was just candy grapes, honestly.
I wonder what make them so hype. Is it because they like are
because nobody ever seen it before?
But you know what? I see other people on that video you sent me on YouTube. A lot of people were talking about how it's popular in their city too. So it's like
I know the people that make it here. Their mom used to make like these crazy candy apples, like with all type of stuff.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
So maybe that's why.
And they got a lot of celebrities. You know, like, I feel like in Atlanta, everybody knows a celebrity, so you can be like, hey. Eat my grapes. If
a celebrity is doing something, everybody is gone.
Sound about right.
So yeah, but it was good though. It was I rated 7.5.
Okay.
7.3.
Well, I want to try just because, but it probably won't happen because I'm not gonna put any effort into standing in line.
I'll go get one.
Bring me one. He could have called me.
No, I'll get you a box. I mean, it was almost 11 o'clock at night. I know you're a working woman.
Thank you for your respect and honesty, liar. But I'm actually just gonna make them myself. So thanks anyway, because I got the recipe
that I sent.
Anyways.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway. Let that part be known.
Let it be known that we have a sponsor for this episode.
Yes.
Yes, this episode and every episode after this will be brought to you by Audible.
Yes. So
I don't even know what to say.
So if y'all want to, I know a lot of people probably haven't read Michelle Obama's book. Somebody on this podcast has, but
I have. I read and listened. Let's be very
if you want to listen to it, use our code. Get 30 days free.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is what you get. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet, just so you know. I don't have an exact number, but but if you go to audibletrial.com/odpodcast, you get a free audiobook and a 30-day trial courtesy of us. And if you got a bunch of different email addresses, hey, make a new account. Just use the link, okay? Please just use the link, okay? We're trying to quit our jobs.
Period.
Well, Chris can't really quit his job.
Yeah,
but
I can't.
We trying to get him.
What I'm gonna do? Throw the makeup away? It's not gonna work.
OMG, you're crazy.
Yeah.
So if you guys hear a third voice laughing in the background, our ignorance, we have Anthony Kendall, the Realtor, in the building. How do you want to be addressed? Do you want to be addressed as Anthony, the Realtor, or do you want to be like just Anthony Kendall?
Anthony's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Just call me Anthony.
Okay, Anthony, how you doing today?
I am great. I'm really excited to be here with y'all.
Really?
Yes, we're excited for you.
I'm excited for you to be
because I got a lot of questions.
Well, we don't have a lot of time, so you need to write it down.
I have a lot of good answers, so let's go.
Okay. I got a lot of questions for my personal. Hopefully, it can help other people too. But I just have a lot of questions.
You probably got the same questions as everybody else.
Probably not, though. Probably not.
Okay. So anyway, so wait, how was your day? First of all, I'm just gonna jump right into it.
My day was amazing. It was very busy, but it was really good.
Ooh, same. Because you about to go out of town tonight.
I am, yes.
What a privilege. What an honor.
I'm so excited.
First of all, she is the queen of going out of town. She goes to a different country every couple months.
Iceland.
That was last year. That was last quarter. Last semester.
It was just November.
You know what's so funny?
December.
On God.
On bro.
I just came back from a cruise on the Super Bowl weekend, and I literally forgot. I was just talking to my coworker. I'm like, I need to go on a trip. She was like, girl, you just came back. I'm like, yeah, I forgot.
Where'd you go?
Wow.
I went to the Cayman Islands and Jamaica, something like.
I've never been to Jamaica before.
I'm sorry.
That's just light work.
Anyways, while they trying to attack a law-abiding citizen, you so you going to the Dominican Republic?
I'm going to Thailand.
Oh,
you just made that up.
Where did I get that from? Well, you got a long flight.
Wow, that's a long flight. Are you excited?
Flight. I'm so excited. I'm not looking forward to the flight though, but it's 14 hours to South Korea, and then 2 hours to Shanghai, and then 7 hours.
Oh, you must have got a deal.
Ish. It was
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a lot of flying. So.
Oh my goodness!
I would just sleep the whole first day I'm there.
You know what though? It ain't even that easy. But you probably have better seats than I. I flew Wild Air to Iceland and I tried to sleep.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Oh wow, was right.
Well, I've never even heard of Wild Air.
It's they're based out of Chicago. They don't have any flights in Atlanta.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah, so I flew to Chicago, then flew to Iceland nonstop. But I hear that New York is probably one of the best cities or states to like go to places like that. Oh, yeah. Where you going?
Yeah. Because when I went to where was it? Rome last year. It was out of.
Y'all talking about me?
I'm just trying to catch up to you. That's all I'm
Well, unfortunately, the furthest that I've been out of the country is Jamaica.
Yeah. Well, Anthony never been to Jamaica, so we got two up.
I hear it's great though. I hear it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
You gonna fly over the Atlantic, which Jamaica lies in, so you could just say you went to Jamaica.
I've been over Jamaica before.
Yeah, I flew over it. Wow.
So okay, obviously we know you're a realtor. Do realtors have a specialty?
I think they do. I think most realtors, a lot of realtors focus on like residential versus like commercial. Some realtors only do like luxury high-end rentals.
Yeah.
Wow, what a life.
Yeah.
I mean,
probably stressful though.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot. That's quick money, especially when you're doing the rental stuff like that. But, most people that I know generally stick with residential. So helping people buy homes, first-time home buyers, or helping people sell their homes.
Okay.
You know, I hear so much about buying homes, but I never hear people talk about the selling. I mean, I guess people aren't really at the stage of where they're selling, in my age, that are selling houses and anything. So so your specialty is residential?
I do residential. I do some luxury rentals as well, but mainly residential. But what I'm finding is that a lot of like millennial age people want to buy or want to do luxury rentals. They can pay $2,000 plus a month for rent.
Not me. I ain't doing it.
So I must not be a millennial. I'm a baby boomer.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, so people actually would prefer that.
Wow. How do you normally find your clients?
Sometimes they find me through social media. A lot of referrals, friends and family referrals, and a lot of just being on the phone, calling people and saying, "Hey, I see your house for sale by owner. Are you looking for some help trying to sell it?"
Well, I would be scared to call up. I'm like, hey.
It's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking at first, but the worst they can say is no. And once you get past that, it's like,
true.
They said no.
How long have you been doing it?
Yeah.
About 2 years now.
So
it'll be 2 years closer to the end of the year. This is my second year.
Okay.
That's what's up.
So
I have a lot of questions. I'm just trying to find a time to jump in because I don't want you to feel bombarded with stuff.
I'm just hoping that I really have good answers for these questions. So I need to have my phone ready so I can do a quick Google search.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I see you have some notes prepared. Are there some questions that you feel like you probably need to address, like some frequently asked questions or myths?
Yes. So what I did was I found some of the top myths of the home buying process. So I want to share those with you all today.
Please do, so I can regret buying this home that we're sitting in right now.
Oh, you did? So you did buy this?
Yeah, okay. I did, but whatever.
Do you regret it though?
Low key.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Well,
because you can make profit off of it.
I can, but I don't want to. So my income literally doubled after I bought this home. So that is, you know what I'm saying? So I should have just waited. But I was in a situation where I had just came back from California. I was staying with my sister. Granted, I was grateful to be living there rent free, but nothing is I'm a be alone type of person. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, let me just get this condo. But then I got another job, and I'm just like, dang, I should have waited. Yeah. And the amount of money I pay with my mortgage plus HOA, I could have definitely gotten a nicer home.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I feel like it won't be as easy to sell it like it was for me to just up and buy it because everybody's not looking for this. But I can, like you said, I can make money off of it, but I don't want to do that. I mean, I could, I guess, but I should have just waited.
Yeah. Well, you can always rent it out, right?
I know, I can. You're right.
And buy something else, and just let me know. I can help you with that. Little plug there. But so the first myth is that the first step of the process is going out and looking for your perfect home, which, as you probably know, that's not the first step. you can't just go out and look for the perfect house.
I was looking, and I was getting mad.
I'm renting right now, and I don't mind it, but
if you're a serious buyer, you know you're ready to go.
Yeah,
you got to secure either one or two things. I recommend getting a realtor first. Obviously, that's probably the best thing to do.
You know, some people look without getting a realtor, which is insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, because they have like Zillow and all these other sites that help them do it.
True.
But there's still a service that you get, which is completely free, by the way, to people that are looking for homes that you can't really replace with Zillow.
Yeah,
so true. I always recommend getting a realtor. But you got to get the financing too. Like you have to have your financing under wraps, what kind of loans you're going to get, because if you don't, you're going to see the perfect house and going to want to buy it, but
you can't even get it.
It's not going to stay on the market for very long.
Oh, true. I went through that too. I do see with my budget that I had a lot of cash buyers looking. I got this condo very cheap. So people were like, oh no, we'll take it and we'll pay more. Because if they're paying cash, they don't have to go through that whole process with the bank. Wow. And little old me out here writing letters to the seller for nothing. My bad.
Yes,
just remember in life.
They'll come in, they'll snag it real quick. Yeah. So if you don't have all your ducks in a row, then there's no need to even look, because things will be on the market today and completely gone tomorrow.
So when it comes to picking a realtor, what do you think some things that people should look for?
Picking a rental?
I mean, a realtor.
I mean, I honestly think it's just, do you get along with this person? Because there are people that you just know your personality we're not going to be compatible, and that's something that I look for too when I'm working with clients. I can look and say, I don't think this is probably going to be the best relationship. So let me go ahead and refer you to a friend. That can
really?
help you out.
Wow, that's very confident of you. Really?
I mean, just to think.
They probably were like, I'm glad he did that.
No, but you think about it. You talk to them and you just think in the back of your head, like back of your mind, like. No, I can tell we're not going to mesh. And you're going to be with this person for the next few months, dealing with their finances. Yeah. And based on that first conversation you have within like really 15, 20 minutes, you already know.
Yeah, true.
What the relationship is going to be like. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does. But somebody that you get along with, and someone that follows up with you, I would think people need to look for realtors that are on kind of all the time and not part time. A lot of realtors have like another job.
Side hustle, yeah.
But someone that's going to be able to have flexibility to be with you when you need them to be with you. So,
do you feel like it's easier for you to sell residence opposed to like luxury apartments or luxury places?
A lot of families prefer going the residential route, looking for houses or townhouses. So I think it's the same. Yeah, it's about the same. It depends on what the person wants.
I want both. To be honest, like I think about it every day. Like I really want another house. Like I live in a house now that I'm renting out, but I go to like my clients' houses and
I hate it.
I look around, I'm like, wow, this is really a thing. Like. You know,
but that's a good way to put the fire under your feet and make sure you just stay on it with that hustle.
Yeah. I don't even think I want to live in a house no more, to be honest. Yeah, no.
Oh, really? Would you prefer like a luxury type condo or
this may tie into one of my questions. So, my goal is to have a loft, and this may be kind of far-fetched because I really want like a really big loft because I want it to be like a live workspace where I can have an area for me to work in and set up for that, and then
Oh, that's what this is.
Yeah, but I want it to be like one room.
No, I got you.
Oh, like an open loft, like
like I want a studio loft, but I want it to be big. I was in one yesterday. That's why I said that. I'm like, wow, this is perfect, and it was a photography studio.
Oh wow, but it was also the person's. They had it as their house.
Yeah, it was like a living. They had it corner for a living room. It was so big, but it was at a goat farm.
A goat farm?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, I saw Lil Wayne walking around.
Where were you?
At the goat farm.
Okay, got it.
Wah wah wah. But no, I think they're closing the goat farm down in October, which is kind of sad. But
sad.
Are we talking about like an actual goat farm? Like there's animals on this farm?
It's right by Atlantic Station.
Oh really?
What?
Yeah. People think that Atlanta is the city just because of all these buildings getting torn down. Yeah. It's still farms.
But dang, that's crazy.
The goat farm is literally a farm. It has a lot of goats. When you walk up, chickens is at your car, roosters is at your car, I'm so serious.
But you know what? Fairmont Road did have chickens.
Yeah.
So I believe it.
Right by Atlantic Station, like as soon as you come out of the goat farm, it's like a luxury apartment building.
That's hilarious. That's Atlanta, Georgia for you.
Yeah.
Have you seen the lofts in Atlantic Station?
I have. I don't even want to. They're very, out of my budget. But, it's so nice. Oh my gosh, beautiful gowns.
So I have a question. You mentioned financing. And something that I regret not doing is getting financial assistance with my home. I was just impatient. I didn't care. I'm like, I got enough money saved. Let me just get this little cheap property. But there were programs that I could have utilized that would have given me $10,000 and all this little money for a sacrifice.
Send it to me.
Okay. Yeah. For an exchange of my time. Do you deal with a lot of clients who use those services, or do you know any that could be helpful for people?
Yeah, I deal with the clients that a lot of them use what we call an FHA loan, and that's generally people maybe first-time home buyers or people that have about an average credit score.
I have a conventional loan.
You have a conventional loan?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the next
exceptional
category.
Credit.
Oh.
No, conventional
I can't
loans,
relate.
Yeah, I mean, those are the two main ones that I deal with a lot of conventional, but mainly FHA loans. And there's a lot of programs that can help with like down payment assistance, or zero down payment programs. It kind of depends on the lender that you use, but I have a great lender that normally works with a lot of people that don't even have A1 credit. Like I've seen credit that gets approved for less than 600, maybe like 580 something.
What?
So sub 600.
Oh, wow.
I don't even think you can get a car with a 580.
Oh, you can get a car. You can get a house too.
Yeah.
Oh, clearly.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Chris got light bulbs over his head.
I do. Because mine is way past the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's above that. Way above.
Okay, above it. Got it.
Yeah.
They get approved all the time with between 580 and 6. I won't go below 580. Like, don't come rolling here with like below a 5. Like that's you need to work on yourself.
That was me at one point though. I remember I had a 490 credit score.
Yeah, but you weren't in the market to buy a house at the time, right?
I could have been.
You know what's sad? Some people probably really can afford a home, but their credit is jacked up. So it's like
it's so important. Yeah. It's so important to keep up with it because when you're ready, you can afford it. Your credit from 10 years ago is still following you.
So what options do people with bad credit have for homes if they want to buy one?
Well,
not many, I'm sure, but
I mean, as far as options, I think there are the different types of loans. So you probably would qualify for the FHA type loan, which has the lowest down payment. And there's a lot of programs that you can also qualify. I don't know about the specific programs.
Okay.
But, a lender would probably have like specific programs. Like I do know about the 1-0 down payment program that my lender offers.
That's what I need.
But that's for what, veterans?
No, it's for FHA.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Dang. See, my neighborhood actually didn't even allow FHA, so I couldn't get it to begin with.
Yeah.
So I, by default, had a humble flex. But
sometimes FHA loans are a little weird when it comes to like condos and townhouses and things like that.
Yeah, have like certain
See,
money.
that's what I want. But I want, not necessarily a condo. Well, I just want a lot of space to work in. Like, I don't want to end up renting out 2 different spots. Like I don't want to have a spot to do makeup in and a spot to live in. Like that's just too much. I would rather get something where I can do both. Yeah. It'll still be separate.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be doing makeup out of my living room.
Yeah, I don't blame. I always said I wanted a house with a nice basement. Like when you come in, you have the option to just go down. Well, I do.
Unless maybe when I'm like 45.
Well, we almost 45.
I don't really like houses. Like it's so much to deal with and it's so much space. I want to still feel youthful.
So you feel like houses are for older
Not
people?
necessarily. They're for families or some people just like houses and I'm fine with that. But I want to be able to like see the city and I like
you can rent out my condo.
Windows. I like floor to ceiling windows. I like all that type of stuff.
I love those things. Those are really, really nice.
Yes.
But what people could do, and this is what I've been trying to tell people, is you can get a house if you qualify for it, and you don't have to live in it. You just have someone else live in it. So you own a house, and you rent it out. And you just get the extra whatever you're charging them that's above the mortgage.
And then if I want to move in it later on, I can, huh?
You're like, excuse me, time to go. I'm ready.
What if they never move out?
Hey, there's ways to ensure that they move out.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So, what are some other myths that you have over there on that list?
Yeah, so let's talk about the only upfront cost is the down payment, which is a it's a big myth, and it's kind of sad. But people come into the process thinking that I have enough money for a down payment, but they're not ready for the inspection, the closing costs. So I always recommend having 5 to 7% of the purchase price of the house that you're trying to purchase. Okay. So if you know your target is $200,000, have a goal to save 5 to 7% of that just for those types of fees, because you want to get an inspection on the house. You want to be able to afford your closing costs. And there's ways to get around closing costs and ways to ask for the seller to contribute to your closing costs. But they don't have to do that. Yeah. They don't have to do it. And if you're in a situation where there's multiple offers, the seller's going to look at the one that obviously is most appealing to them. Right. So I will be fully prepared to take care of all the costs and then let the realtor kind of help you negotiate, see what you can get better.
Okay.
Yeah, those fees are very accurate. Especially, I was so nervous. You sound real mad. Well, I didn't have an issue with mine, but it was scary knowing that if my home failed inspection or if it didn't appraise for the amount that I offered, then I could be responsible for that money. And I was like, Lord, come on, Lord, just please. But it ended up working out. But that is true. And also, people don't even know about earnest money. Like, it's not just when it's time to close, take all that money. It's like, do you got 1%?
Yeah. So
it sounds like you might need to stay here for a little minute.
What you trying to say?
I'm saying that seems like a lot.
It is a lot, but I'm good, bro.
Okay.
I didn't even mention earnest money, but that's what you give to the person when you go under contract. It's a good faith offer, showing them that you are interested and they're taking their house off the market, and that's something that's upfront. It's not closing costs, it's not down payment. It's what you have to have ready when you're ready to go into a contract. So that's important.
But it goes towards the down payment?
Yeah, it could. Okay. It all depends on the settlement statement at closing, but yeah, it could.
Can people not pay earnest money and still get the house?
I think it depends on the market. It's always negotiable. Okay. Like, it's always negotiable. The amount, there's what people kind of expect if it's an FHA loan versus a conventional loan, but in the grand scheme of things, it's all contracts and it's all negotiable. So do you have to have it? Probably not, but most sellers are looking for earnest money to compensate them for taking their house off the market. Because if something goes wrong, generally who's ever at fault, that person would, they would hold the earnest money and keep the earnest money. So, I always recommend it for sure if you're serious about presenting an offer.
Yeah, well, I was very serious and very desperate, but no, I want to say, I know we mentioned this earlier, like picking the right realtor. I had that scenario where I had a realtor that I didn't know enough, and he was like referred to me by someone else who got rid of them as their realtor, and it was just a terrible experience. Yes. Then I met the realtor that I had, who was great. She really was great. She was really helpful. We clicked, but I don't think she understood me, if you know what I mean. And so I feel like I might have missed out on some opportunities because of that. So I think that I just want to throw that out there.
Like opportunities to save money?
Yes, save money. It was more so like, this is what you gotta do, this is what you gotta do, this is what you gotta do, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, all right. Yeah. But I didn't feel pressure, but I also learned, how you learn stuff after the fact. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I feel like I've had, and I know it varies by the realtor, and some things you're probably not even supposed to do, but I've had friends whose realtor has been like, don't get a condo, like you need to get a house because this and that. I kind of wish I would have had some advice like that.
I hear more people like that. Like saying get a house.
Yeah, because there is a greater benefit in it. To each his own. I wanted a condo because I felt like it was less of a responsibility. But like I said, I got more money, so I'm because I'm thinking like the money that I pay in HOA that could have gone. I probably would still spend it anyway with the house, but I would feel more knowing that I could probably get way more for the house years to come than I would for this condo. Yeah. Yep, I agree. It is what it is. Yeah. So anyway, let's say okay, I got the right credit. I got the amount of money I need. I know what house I want. Like, what can cause them to not get the house they want? Like, when it comes to maybe the approval process, or is that something they should speak to the lender about?
A lot of it goes to the lender, but in my experience, people generally, you get the pre-approval, which obviously it's only a pre-approval. That does not mean you are approved, and that's a huge thing.
Don't you use that credit card?
Right. Yes, because they're monitoring everything. Yep. After that pre-approval, don't make any big purchases. Don't make any major payouts.
I withdrew like $300 for 3 weeks, and I was like, I'm leaving all my cards at home. I don't want nothing to go wrong.
What? Yes, because when they get more deep and they start looking at stuff, and they'll ask questions like, how much money is in your bank account right now? They'll get real down to the nitty gritty because they're going to give you money. They're lending you money, so of course they're going to want to make sure you can pay it back. But I forgot the question now.
Oh, I was just asking about like what could cause the approval to just fall. Or a closer to fall.
Financing is always one. Financing will fall through first generally, if anything else does. So even when you're working with a seller, the selling agent always generally asks, how confident are you with your buyer securing financing? Because in some cases, we got all the way to a week before closing, and my buyer could not get financing. So the whole entire deal fell apart.
I know they were depressed.
It was horrible. And not only that, because the house that they were selling the house in order to buy the new house, so they couldn't move out of their house. So there was 2 deals that were messed up. And it was all because of financing. And, when you're dealing with HUD and you have to move your mortgage around because maybe you get behind and you have all these subordinate mortgages, that money never goes away. You always have to pay that money back. And that's what my client didn't realize. So when it was time to close, $35,000 of loans against the house popped up. And,
oh my goodness.
And obviously I'm like, well, do you have $35,000 to pay it? And he's like, nope. So it's a great example of how sometimes deals don't go through. But from my experience, a lot of times is people don't have the appropriate financing for it.
Well, that's scary. I can't lie. I was pretty nervous, and I feel like so let me ask you this. How long is the typical, I found a home, let's close process?
The quickest that I've done it is just over 30 days. It's generally, I would say, 30 to 45 days is normal, but depending on the circumstance, it can be a very lengthy process. It can be very, very lengthy. There's a lot of back and forth generally between the selling agents and the buying agents. Negotiating happens. So there's a lot that can make the process a lot longer, but generally I would say 30 to 45 days would be perfect.
Well, let me tell you, it took me 3.5 weeks, and that's why I was nervous.
Oh, really?
3.5 weeks. It was very quick, and I had so many friends that talked about stuff that happened. I'm like, why is this not happening? Did she forget something? So I just I started to have buyer's remorse early because I was scared, but I just didn't know. But I mean, so far I haven't had any issues, knock on wood. But I was just like,
I don't think that's wood.
Knock on. Y'all not about to try me in my house.
I just wanted to help you out.
So you were just a qualified buyer, is what you were saying.
I guess so. I don't know. Well,
and ready to go.
Yeah, I was.
Everybody.
But I had done a lot of. I'm really obsessive about stuff, and so once I knew, so I had even did an online, how much do you qualify for type of thing, and I was pretty spot on. So I was like, all right, I want to save this much for this, and I mean, I got very lucky because I didn't pay any closing costs, and I paid $1,200 at the closing table.
Oh wow.
I didn't pay nothing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but.
See, that's kind of rare sometimes.
I know, but it's because I need new windows. So, and the seller was like, all right, I'll just throw it in there. And so, it just came, but that's why I'm cold now. But but it was just something, I did so much research. And then also before I bought it, I was living in another state. I didn't have to pay rent, so I was able to stack. But looking at properties every day, I'm like, this property normally goes for this amount. So let me make sure I look at stuff that has this. Or if it was just too much. But why do you think that people should buy a home instead of renting? Or do you think they should buy a home instead of renting?
People are, a lot of realtors are like, yes, buy a home, buy a home, buy a home. And I'm a huge advocate of, yes, I want you to buy a home. I want to work with you so we can work together and make your dreams come true. But only if that's your dream.
Wow.
If you don't want to own a home, like you said, you're not really interested in owning a house right now.
No.
And there are so many people like that just are not interested in owning a home. So that's why I like to deal with a lot of the luxury rentals as well. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the benefits, the very obvious benefits, is that you're building equity. You're pouring money into something, and the money's not just going to a landlord or the rent office type thing. So
it has its benefits, and then I've been reconsidering it lately just because I feel like later on down the line, all the good homes gonna be gone.
Or they're gonna be super expensive. That was another thing. That's why I regret getting a condo too.
So now I'm kind of shifting my brain. Okay, so I do want to live workspace, but realistically, I need a house. Mm-hmm. Well, not need, but maybe I should get one just because of, just to be safe.
But there are things about renting that are still very appealing to people. Not
get up and go.
Get up and go. When your lease is up, you find something else. If something breaks, you call the office. You're not really held liable for a lot of things when you have.
That's the good part. Mm-hmm. That's the good part, because even now, I live in a house, I'll call my landlord about everything. I promise y'all, I'm so petty. A piece of paint chipped on my tub.
And that's why I don't want to rent out now. I don't have time.
It wasn't... sorry. But a piece of paint chipped from my tub.
Oh,
and
my
I
God.
called him. I was like, can you come redo this?
As you should. That's what you do when you rent. If something goes wrong, you have them take care of it.
Yeah, true. That's why I got stuff. That ain't none. What's a little flood? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I haven't had a flood. I think for me, it was more so. I was paying like almost like total like $900 to $1,000 a month on rent, and I'm just like I'm like, what am I gonna do? Y'all, hold up. I was paying a amount of money, but they went up on my rent every year, so it's like, you know. I would rather, like, I just feel like I'm just giving, when you move, you don't get nothing back. You don't get a check back. I didn't even get a deposit, okay? Oh, wow. But I feel like when you buy a home, you at least can get something back. But it is that process of, like, now I got to sell. Now I got to do this. It's like a responsibility. But rent in Atlanta is so high. And that's what has justified to me not being, like, so regretful about buying my home. Because I'm like, I'm paying way less than anybody. My mortgage is not even $600. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
So it's dirt cheap.
Wow. That's really good.
That's what I'm saying. And that's another reason why I'm like, okay, maybe I need to consider it. So I don't know.
As long as you just get more than one bedroom.
And then in this area, that's really good because there's apartments like
that cost almost double for real. Not even almost one bedroom starting at like $900 or something like that. Yeah, you're right. And that's another thing. So I'm like, well, I didn't make a bad decision, and I live by myself. You know what I mean? But I think I'm just thinking more so in the long run. But I think what's gonna happen, I'm just gonna keep the condo just to have it, and then buy another home.
It's always good to have. It's always creating that second flow of income for you. But then you add the whole thing about being a landlord, and some people aren't ready to be a landlord, so they choose to sell the property, get the money.
I don't even like being an employee. Now, why I want a landlord?
Yeah. Or some people use like management companies to manage, like if they have multiple properties. But
I think that's what my landlord does.
Yeah, so you don't call the landlord directly. You call like similar to like a leasing office type thing, but they just help lease out and take care of all the complaints and all stuff like that.
Because he got about 5 houses on our street, I think.
You got the nerve to be calling about some chip paint,
right?
On a bathtub that's been there for 20 years.
Yes. Nah, he redid it. It's renovated, so it was kind of new. Everything was in.
Mine was too, honestly. I think, but my seller bought my home foreclosed like dirt cheap. Like I should have bought it.
Oh wow!
And didn't put much of anything. That's why she was so happy to give me all this money at the closing table because she made so much money off of it. So it was both a win-win. So I suppose. But I do have a question. So let's say I am ready to sell. What are things that I could do to prepare, or what should I know of before I even consider it?
That's a great question. So selling's a huge undertaking, and it's
joy.
It is, but I've been listening to the radio nowadays, and there's all these. I think it's called Redfin. There's a lot of these sites that are like, selling is easy. Come to us.
Like Knock. There's a couple of them. They'll buy it for you. They probably will cheat you though.
It's still. I feel like some others like some hidden fees in there or something for you to charge. But I think the best way to go is just to get a really good agent that understands this area, because there's agents that work all over the state of Georgia. Like I can do deals in Savannah if I wanted to, or Valdosta because I'm licensed in Georgia. But someone that knows this area. So I specialize like in the Fulton, Cobb County area, and a little bit out in Stone Mountain. And so I can understand. I can identify trends. I know what's hot, what's not right now.
What's gentrified, what's not.
Right. I mean, it's insane. But that's the first process in trying to figure out how you can get the most bang for your buck. Finding your number. And oftentimes sellers have their number and it's way up here because there's an emotional connection that they have with the property. And then the realtor comes in, they're like, okay, let me tell you what the
nobody's house out here is selling for that. So you need to chill while you're at Camp Creek trying to get $200 one bedroom.
$200,000. Wow. People will look at the Zestimate, which oftentimes is way
off. I hope mine's right because I've been looking.
Sometimes it's wrong because they don't look at all the same metrics that you need to look at comparing a 3-bed to a 3-bath. They just compare
not like the physical condition of the home and all the stuff you've done to it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of things that they don't consider. So that's why I always recommend going with a person that can pull these comps for you. And as things change, comps change. So
it's a lot. Like I don't even want to be an adult no more.
Honestly, it's not even that bad.
When you bring the right person with you, if you bring the realtor for you, the process for you is really just a process of education. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know for you to make the best decision, and we're going to be in this together. And that's kind of how I approach every client. Is I'm only going to do what you need me to do. As far as if you don't want a house, then you want a townhouse, then we're going to look for townhouse. I'm not going to try to sell you a house. You want a condo?
That's what I think I want.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll talk later.
I need to talk offline.
Yeah, we'll talk later. That's what I think I'm gonna do.
Do you have tips on like picking maybe the right kind of neighborhood or the style of home, or is that
yes?
I had my realtor was like, I asked her if the neighborhood. I basically was like, is this the hood? She said she wasn't allowed to tell me.
She's not. I'm glad you said that, because like we go through all kinds of training.
What you mean?
You can't, like, we can't tell you like, oh, don't live here, this is the hood. Oh, don't live over here, there's a lot.
Because they need to increase the value of that area. If you don't buy the home, they don't get paid. I mean, not to like break it down like that, but I'm saying like my hood might not be your hood.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But like when it comes to like demographics, like we can't tell you what this demographic is like. So if you ever ask a realtor and they tell you, oh, this is a black area right here, or this is
good, because I'm black too. What's the problem?
What about crime? We can ask about that.
No, I asked her about that too. She wasn't allowed to tell me.
So there's like sites you can direct people to that will give them that information. One thing that I do is I always focus on when I'm talking about neighborhoods is schools, because schools are so important. If you ever try to sell your house, schools become very important, because people that have kids may want to buy this. You never know.
Yeah.
So if you're buying in a low school area and the school they're rated like, I think it's like a 1 to 10 scale. They're like in the low side of the scale. It's probably going to be a lot harder for you to resell. But we're not thinking about that because we don't have kids that go to school.
True.
But
and I didn't even think about that until after I bought my home. But I did learn that Cobb County has like probably the best school system in the city or the state. I could be wrong, but it's
very good. Yeah, Cobb is really good. If you go over to Smyrna, though, when I work with clients and try to deal with property over in that area, a lot of concerns are the schools in Smyrna, because the schools specifically in Smyrna aren't the best schools. So I have had clients that their kids are turning 3, 4, and they're moving out because they need to get into a better school, or they can go to private school. So yeah, they're not.
That's a big deal to sell your home. I mean, hey, that's lit.
I mean, because the kids they're going to be in school for the next 12 years. Yeah. So if they want a good education, you got to go to the right area.
You're right. And Marta don't really run
sent me across town.
Marta does not.
My mama waited until I was in high school, and she just sent me across town.
Oh, it's a private school.
It wasn't private school. I just went to a different school. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I ain't know better. I ain't want to leave my friends. And I should have known Medical Chris or Draco went to North Atlanta, and I was just like, oh, I'm going to there or Campbell Road. Try to stay in the hood. I know. Shame on me.
And to answer the second half of your question is, I think it was about the finding your perfect home.
Yeah. Like the style maybe, or what.
Yeah. So people oftentimes go into the process with an idea of their perfect home, and they want this, they want that, they want all the bells and whistles, and some of the time it's their first time buying a house. So I recommend you make a list and rank your list 1 through 10, and then pick your top 4 or 5. Because if you try to find 10 characteristics of a house that you want to buy, then you probably are going to miss out on a lot of good opportunities.
Sure is, and you might not find it's going to be available after you close. Right. Because that's what happens to me.
Right. So pick your top 3, your top 4, and just make sure that house has it in it. And it just gets very, very challenging when you have very, very high expectations of the house. Especially if your price range is not there. You know what I mean?
That's what happens when you look at HGTV, honey. You start thinking you deserve all this stuff that you pay.
Yeah, I definitely have to cut that off sometimes.
And that's all they play at my job. I'm like,
oh, it's spin around? Like, whoa, wait, I think I need that.
Right. How your house floating on the ocean like that?
Me? Oh, I'm not doing that. No oceans. No.
Okay. Well, do you have any other things that you think people might want to know or need to know about home buying?
Yeah, well, we actually covered a lot of them, but one thing that I will touch on is about the asking price. So obviously when you're buying a house, people have an asking price, and that asking price is not set in stone. So it's not like you go into the store and buy a new pair of shoes.
Well, depending on what country you in.
Depending on what country you're in.
Because in the Cayman Islands, they was out there going hard.
Yeah, you can do a nice little negotiation there. But that's the same kind of mindset that your realtor needs to be in, and trying to get you the best bang for your buck. You see something priced for $200,000, run comps in the area, see what other things are selling for, and go back to that seller and say, this house is selling for $50,000 less. Why are you hiking your price up so much? Okay. And oftentimes, if the house is sitting on the market for months, for a long time, I always say there's 3 things that's wrong with either the price, the location, or the condition. And a lot of times it's the price. It's just overpriced. You got to bring it down and you'll get more traction on it.
So you mentioned condition. It reminded me of this home I looked at in Mapleton. It was such a beautiful townhome. It was priced perfectly, all this great stuff. But we go inside and on the middle, it was so nice. I'm about to cry. There was like a leak in the ceiling. And I could tell, I was like, that's probably why, because it's probably something that costs way, way more money. How can a person know if that house, what kind of inspection they had before that? Or can they know that?
Yeah, do they have like Carfax for homes?
That's actually a really good idea. Carfax for homes.
Yeah.
Because you have to pay for inspection no matter what, you know what I mean? So why not save me the time and find out?
Generally, inspections are actually not, you don't have to have them. Yeah, you don't have to have your house inspected. Now, it's heavily recommended.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I got one.
You have one inspected.
Yeah, I definitely would get one.
You should.
The last house I had before this, it was an older home, and it was slightly remodeled on the inside. The plumbing, Jesus Christ, has never been replaced.
Oh, my goodness.
So the house was built in like 1960, 1950, and it was made of copper, like the pipes.
Oh, the piping, yeah.
So, ironically, when I move in there, I got problems. Like,
but they probably was there before you moved in. They just painted over it.
They did something. It started flooding real bad, and they tried to come fix it, and then it was like, we got to just replace these pipes. Like, they're so old.
And it was an older house?
Yeah, it was an older house. On the outside.
Lot of these houses, ones that are built like 70s-ish, they have polybutylene piping, which is that like grayish blue piping that you see that goes through houses, and that's terrible. So if you're ever buying a house and they say they have polybutylene piping, you need them to upgrade it to the new stuff, because that's old. That's outdated.
That's scary. I'm glad you're right. Get an inspection. Please don't, y'all listen. My inspection would help me get money at the closing table.
Yeah, because you see,
so I basically got the money back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They identify, and you can get a real good inspection company. I work with a really good one. They give you a thorough 75-page report.
Oh wow,
it's a big report. Well, I guess it depends on
725. my home is a little small too. So
no, I guess it depends on like the size of the house. But yeah,
God.
they give you a very nice report. They go into like every nook and cranny, and then when you get that inspection back, you then go back to the seller and say, X, A, B, C, D is wrong. I want you to fix it. And they'll come back and say, well, I can't fix B, but I'll fix A and C. So that's where the negotiation kind of takes place. But inspections are very important.
It's okay. 2 questions. I guess they're kind of the same before we wrap up. Let's say you have a company that you do inspections with. Do you have a company that does the appraisal, or is that from the bank? I can't remember.
Yeah, bank orders the appraisal, which you have to pay for that as well.
Yeah,
so that's another fee that you have to be prepared for. And that's up front. That's not the closing table, inspection and appraisal. But yeah, the bank sends that out. And that's just when they come out and make sure that what they're loaning you, the house is actually worth. So when people are saying, I wonder if this house is going to appraise, and that's like, it's a nail-biting moment, because if it doesn't appraise and if it's lower, then the seller is going to have to potentially come down on that pricing, or you're going to have to pay the difference. Yeah. You're going to pay the difference. So it's important. And appraisers are generally, they're specific to area. They also look at comparables, and they look and see what everything is selling in the area, and they go walk around the house, and they just make sure that the bank is getting the most bang for their buck.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember all that stuff now. I remember when I got my appraisal in my email, I did not want to open it. I was like, Lord, if it's $1,000 less, I'm going to be sad.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was like $1,000 more, but it was right. But I think he kind of,
The appraiser?
Yeah, I think he kind of just hooked it up. Oh. That's all I'm saying.
Some do, if you know the
right because they really have control of the market value, low key.
It was a goal.
I mean, it worked out, and I'm just gonna say, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I feel like appraisers can say, "Oh yeah, this is worth $125," but it might not be, and then appraising at $125 will allow the next person to sell theirs for $125. Now everybody's selling for $125. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But hey,
so they do have a really key part in like the market.
Yeah, for real.
Yep, I agree. 100%.
You're like, oh yeah, you live in the same neighborhood as me. Oh, this worth $1 million.
Right, turn around, their house on the market for $1 million too. Yeah.
Do you have any more questions, Draco?
No. I just want to make a comment though. If my roommates are listening, y'all need to count y'all days because I'm moving out. Period. I'm just playing out. Psych. I'm joking.
And if y'all are moving out, y'all need someone to help y'all find a place. Let me know.
Yes.
I'm joking. We just moved in the house. I honestly might re-sign my lease.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I mean, you have a good situation. Even though you got roommates, you ain't...
Yeah, I don't want... I mean, no offense. Hey, I love y'all, but...
But it's a good time.
They know that. Yeah, I mean, it ain't no secret. I tell them now all the time I want to live by myself. Yeah. Is that rude?
No, it's nothing wrong with that. I never like living with people.
Oh, okay.
The only roommate I had was because my job gave me a roommate, and I loved her, and it worked out.
Okay.
But there's so many like horror stories from like roommates.
I know it.
So like I haven't. Well, actually, I did have one, but I'm not gonna share. But it was terrible. But yeah, I'm definitely a person that needs a.
See y'all in a few.
All right, I have one more question. I promise. Yes. Do you think that time is running out to get a good price home in Atlanta? And by good, I mean what it was 4 years ago, or if that makes sense, like before they started all this new development and stuff.
I think now is the time to buy. It's a seller's market. So what seller's market means is that there are more houses, there are more buyers in the market looking for houses than there are houses that are on the market. So the sellers are truly controlling a lot of the things in the market. So that's why they call it a seller's market. I think it's a great time to buy. There's no way to kind of, well, there is a way to predict it, but who's to say if it's accurate to predict where the market's going to go? You don't know if it's going to go up. You don't know if it's going to go down.
And that's scary because it can go down. And I've seen that.
And
that's scary.
And I mean, when it goes down, obviously house prices drop and people want to jump on it then, but you don't really know when that's going to happen.
I think that's what happened to our neighborhood.
Yeah.
To be honest. Yeah. We live in a currently gentrifying area. Like we're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So every day I wake up with a new neighbor and they walking dogs and
I love that walking dogs.
No, because it's real.
No, you're right. They walk a lot of dogs in my neighborhood.
My driveway and I'm like,
and it's a lot of 2 a.m. joggers. I'm like, y'all tripping.
And so we thinking like go in the house, like you are not safe. But realistically, I'm like,
it's becoming
these new neighbors, yeah. And I drove when I started driving Lyft maybe like 2 months ago, and I've cut it on. So I get to see the whole neighborhood and see these people getting in my car. I'm like, wow, y'all really live over here. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, this is real cool.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to buy, to own. And if you have a house or property that you're trying to sell, it's a great time for you to get in on it. I mean, if you're trying to buy now, I think now's the time to buy because things are getting better and better and better. So prices
don't tell me that because I'm count y'all days. I'm not playing.
But we don't know when that bubble's gonna burst. We have no idea. But the current state of things and for the next at least 6 or 7 months that we can see, I think it's a very, very strong market. Very strong. Now, last year was a hot market. Properties were going on the market and they were being sold or going under contract within hours with multiple offers on them.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. How does that happen?
Well, so you post when you have a listing, you post it on the MLS, and the MLS is where all of the licensed agents in Georgia can go see the house. So they see it, they shoot a little picture or the specs over to their client.
I got it. Thanks.
Yep, they'll come and look at it real quick, and then they'll put offers in. You'll get multiple offers, and then the seller gets to pick the one that's the best, obviously. So when you're trying to ask for, I want them to pay for all my closing costs, I want to ask for this and that, then your offer probably is not going to be the one they choose, obviously. But yeah, it's a strong market. So now's the time to do it. We don't know what's going to happen after next year. People say that the market's gonna crash, but there are really no strong indicators that support that it will crash. So I
hope not. So. Well, if it does, my lease is up in September. So
count your days.
Count your days. Count them. I'm just playing out.
Well, thank you, Anthony, so much for swinging through.
Yes,
I literally knew nothing about. I mean, I was kind of in and out on Alicia's when she, was closing and stuff.
But it was so
I don't
quick.
really know.
I ain't had time to...
Yeah,
I mean,
that was very quick.
For real.
Very quick.
I came home, I was like, I found the place, I made an offer. Oh, I'm closing tomorrow. They're like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Lucky me, I guess.
Yeah, it don't always happen that way, but that's fantastic that it did for you.
So now I know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I'll be hitting you up in a few months to try to figure my life out.
Yes.
How far in advance should I do?
I was thinking the same thing. Well, I think it's a good question. Like,
before we go.
Should he wait? Well, you go ahead. You ask.
Yeah, like how far in advance? Like, say for instance, my lease is up September.
Yeah.
How far in advance will I need to start the process?
I would say that you should have already started saving, so you can already get to that.
Oh, I'll call you next year.
But before you start engaging with a realtor, I have a person that just reached out to me probably 2 weeks ago, and she's looking to buy at the end of this year, early next year. So at this moment, I'm just giving her information. I'm not showing her houses. I'm just helping her figure out what the best financing is for her and areas and what the prices are in these areas. So that's all we're doing. But generally a few months before, or if you like, I'm ready to buy a house today, or I'm ready to make that decision, then I can still work with you. It's on your timeline essentially. But I would much prefer a person come to me ready to buy a house that has their financing ready, that they're a serious buyer. And serious buyer doesn't mean you're ready to buy immediately. It can be 3-4 months down, but at least have some kind of
be like
pep in your step.
14 months down.
Well, look, as long as you're serious, I'll still work with you.
All right.
You be like, here go Draco text me again. He ain't got no money. Why you texting me?
I feel like my laugh is so strong on this microphone.
Well, you about to be in Thailand, honey. Who cares? It's okay. These little pop filters will protect that.
Oh, good.
Well, let our potential buyers and sellers, renters, and luxury livers, how can they find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram. My name is Anthony Kendall, and that is my Instagram name as well. Super simple. Or by my email, which is A as in Apple, N as in Nancy, .Kendall, KENDALL @gmail.com.
Thank you guys so much for listening to OD Podcast this week.
Yes. What we got coming up?
Another episode.
Anywho, y'all just subscribe to Audible. Read you some books, or listen to you some books.
Listen to a book. Let me tell you something. Audiobooks changed my life because I don't be having time to open no book for real. Mm-hmm. I just listen to it on flights, listen to it at work, and like 6-7 hours you can be done while people still flipping pages under their bed.
And you can speed it up, make it go faster.
You sure? Oh, I tried that. That's a little weird, but it's like. Nah. Anywho, all right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.